TG Geeks, episode 235, August 19th, 2019. I'm Cuckoo for CoKoCon. Hello and welcome to another webcast from TGGeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, we're actually in Washington, D.C., but Phoenix, Arizona. This is recording a week ahead of time.
Yes, this is another time shift.
Another time shift.
This is Ben Raginson sitting next to a genius. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. I got to admit, I first heard the cuckoo clock and thought, what the F? And then the cuckoo for CoKoCon. I thought, oh, hey, that, okay, yeah, hats off. That was really good.
CoKoCon.
That was good.
And why? Let's get on with it here.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, the reason I'm Cuckoo for CoKoCon is because we're talking to Hal Astell about CoKoCon 19.
He's the vice chair this year.
Yeah, he's the vice chair. He's the chair of the vices.
Oh.
Of devices? Chair of devices? Device chair?
Hey, I just chair of vices, man. I'm in.
There you go.
I never met a vice I didn't like.
Yeah. And we have a birthday shout-out. It's our featured podcast of the week, and we have feedback. We got some feedback. As always, thank you to everybody that sends us feedback. Shaking up the show a little bit, just moving things around, as always, just kind of keep it fresh. And then we have a couple of things we'll talk about in our second segment, our weekly recap of what we think we're going to publish this last week. Because
again, we're time shifting.
We're time shifting. And then we have our shout out. So let's just get on with it. And this time we welcome back to the show Mr. Hal Astell, who is this year the vice chair for CoKoCon, which is the science fiction convention that's made up of like 27 other conventions all combined, right? or something to that effect.
And we're becoming one. I mean, we're finding our identity. The name's a portmanteau of two conventions, but we're one thing ongoing. We should be here for good.
Yay. So tell us who you are and how you got involved, because you and Dee are really involved in the sci-fi con community here in Phoenix and Arizona and the western part of the U.S. as well. So tell us how that happened.
Growing. How did it happen? I think pretty much everything we do comes out of the film scene. We found the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival back in 2007 and got accidentally introduced to one of the key people there because somebody she was with overheard me talking and thought I was a Kiwi. So they introduced me, and we got to be friends, and suddenly we're doing film stuff all over the place, following her around. And it all grew from there because we kept meeting new people and finding new things and just kept expanding.
As it always does.
As it always does. Yeah, it's the standard thing in fandom. As soon as you volunteer for something, you're hooked in there. You can't ever leave.
The only way that you can leave is if you die or move. And then
Right.
sometimes
And then-
maybe not
then-
necessarily.
No, moving, not an option. They find some way to haul your butt back into the circuit. You can never get away from a move. No, it has to be death. And even then, I'm surprised that no one has actually started a seance, or drawn a pentagram on the floor in the hopes of actually resurrecting the dead soul. That's how our fandom
Every
works
now and
here.
again, we have a ghost of honor.
Hey,
That's an
Of honor,
idea.
we have a ghost of honor.
Let's do that. You should suggest that. I'm not going to suggest it because then that's kind of like volunteering.
yeah, good point. Although once this goes out over the air, you're in deep trouble.
Yep. So anyway, so that you and Dee have been involved in not only this CoKoCon, which is tell us what that amalgamation is at this point, or what
It's
what it
CoKoCon
was.
going
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, but we started out, the name comes from CoKoCon and ConCapelli because we have two sponsoring bodies, which is a little unusual. Usually there's one group of people that sponsors a convention, but we brought two in. And the Western SFA had run ConCapelli back in 2005, 2004. That was their WesterCon. And CASFAS ran CopperCon for years. That was their science fiction convention with a literary focus that was here from 81 through to 2004. So when we set this up, we brought the two groups together, wanted to keep both sides in the name, so we went for CoKoCon. The Co for Copper, the Co for ConCapelli, and the Con because, hey, it's a con.
The con because it's a con. So you and Dee, your wife or your significant other or whatever you wish to call her today,
Spousal
partner,
over unit.
Spousal, yes.
Yeah, usually the much better half.
Yes, have been doing that, but you've also been involved with a number of other things as well.
Yeah, we keep getting involved with all sorts of things. In fandom, we're involved with all three of the local groups. There are three groups. Two I've just mentioned. The third is Leprechaun Inc. So we're both on the board for Leprechaun Inc. Dee just chaired Leprechaun this year. And then CASFAS, I'm now the president, which sounds incredibly important and really just means I lead the meetings. And in Western SFA, we're both members there too. So we get our toes in a whole bunch of ponds for local fandom.
Yeah, and then you did a presentation up in, where was it, just recently for WesterCon, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, WesterCon's a regional convention, moves around the western third of North America, and this year was in Layton, Utah. So we went up for that because we enjoyed the convention, and I was doing a couple of roadshow sets and some other things. But I was also bidding to host WesterCon in 2021. And unfortunately, I lost that bid, so that won't be happening. It'll be happening in Tonopah, Nevada instead. And we're looking at our options to maybe roll our bid into a future year.
Right. But you also did WesterCon, what was it, 2 years ago here in Tempe, right? Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, Dee ran 2017, 2 years ago. Yeah, she ran WestCon 70. I was the vice chair there. And, we have so much fun with WesterCon. The beauty of it is that it's a bigger event, but it's not a crazy big event.
Right.
So if you think on the scale of, you've got the local events at 300 or 400 people, and then you've got Phoenix Comic-Con at 106,000 people. Yeah, no, we're nowhere near that scale, but it's a lot bigger than the 300. So, you can have 1,000 people, 1,500 people at some of these WesterCons, and they move around. So it's in a different city every year.
Right.
So you get a very different membership there, a very different list of panelists. And you get to see some of the area. You fly out or you drive out and enjoy the drive and go see what's in the area as well as go to the convention. So it's sort of become our annual holiday.
Yeah.
We first went to San Diego in was WesterCon 68 in 2015 to bid for 70, which we won. And then we've been to Portland. We've been to back to here in Tempe, of course, and then Denver last year, Layton, Utah this year. Next year we'll be in Seattle.
We we may have to go.
May have to do that. Love Seattle.
So tell us about CoKoCon. This is the second year. Last year was the inaugural year for CoKoCon, which I thought was rather successful.
For a first time,
yes.
It was a surprisingly successful convention. I was very pleased with it.
At least you made it. You had enough response to have it for a second year. Let's put it that way.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, first year con here is always tough. There are so many. I mean, we're up to 63 conventions on the calendar for Arizona in 2019, and there are probably a couple more still to announce.
Yeah, and you're going to every one of them,
right? It's a crowded year.
And you go to all of those.
I would go to quite a few. Yeah, the 5 on a particular weekend in different cities. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a bit difficult.
So you're in the car, you drive by and wave, "Hi, how you doing?" That way it saves you from buying a membership.
On the way past, yeah.
Drive-by conning.
We just created
coined a new term, drive-by conning.
Yeah, so you don't have to buy a membership. You drive by and you wave at the people standing in line, and then you move on to the next one.
Now, there have been cons that strange. There was one, not in Arizona, but there was one in, I think was it California, where somebody had upset somebody, so everybody left.
Oh,
and
dear.
They basically held the convention outside on the sidewalk.
Oh, my Lord.
The guests were leaving, and they thought, what's happening out here? This looks like fun, and we'll just stay. And they came back the next day and did it again.
Oh, my Lord.
We haven't had anything quite that wild in Arizona, but who knows? Time.
Yeah.
There is plenty of time. CoKoCon 2018 went very well. We aimed at 300 people as a real hope. We got 301.
Oh, yeah.
So, we reached our target. And rolled over to 2019. It went very well. People really enjoyed. So we're really hoping to build on that a little this year, and within a few years, hopefully reach the cap we wanted, 500.
Right.
Again, that's something we took from the Tuscon side of things, where they like to keep it small, even when they get a huge guest in that's going to spike past it. A few years ago, they had George R.R. Martin.
Right.
Of course, immediately there was no way they were not going to sell out ahead of time.
Right.
And they did indeed hit their 500, but they didn't carry on accepting memberships after that. It was capped there and stopped. So we're not going to hit 500 for probably a couple of years, but hopefully we'll build on the 301 and we'll get towards that 500 in a couple of years' time.
Right. Well, we really enjoyed it last year, and we're going to be there again this year, and doing our
looking forward to having you.
Our what do we call it? Concast that we're going to do on a daily. It's kind of an interesting little thing, but we'll be there talking to people, just hanging out with people, just having a staycation, if you will, and enjoying some of the guests. There's some really interesting guests that you have lined up. What is it, Dr. Spark or Sparks? What's his official title?
Professor Sparks.
Professor
I'm
Sparks.
I'm really looking forward to seeing his shows. He's going to have 2 shows, and he'll be there the whole weekend with his stuff, and but 2 full shows in Frankenstein's laboratory. He's an OSHA inspector by day.
Oh, wow.
So he's about as safe as he gets. In fact, he teaches OSHA inspectors.
Wow.
So we're not going to burn the hotel down or anything like that. It's all going to be incredibly safe. But it's not going to look safe because he's going to be firing electricity all over the place.
No reanimating dead bodies.
Yeah, no dead bodies that are actual real dead bodies. They're just going to look like it. Yeah, no, we're going to have a young lady. There'll be a Miss Electra in the electric chair, sending electricity through her body to light up light tubes and all this sort of stuff, and send arcs all around the room.
Cool.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
and I'm fascinated just to see the sets, because quite a bit of the sets that he'll have there on stage are from Ken Strickfaden sets for the original Frankenstein in 1931, that then got used for Bride of Frankenstein, got used even for Young Frankenstein many years later. And it's actual equipment working equipment from those sets. As a film fan, I'm just dying to see this stuff.
Absolutely,
see it in
us
action.
too.
Well, I have to ask the question because, just as Keith and I are just huge fans of the old classic Universal horror films. And when I read that you got this guy, I mean, I just had a serious geekasm, and I have to know, how did you find this man and entice him to come to our convention? I mean, to me, this is a huge step up. I mean, and I don't want to demean what last year's CoKoCon accomplished, because I thought last year's was absolutely fantastic. But this is like really a massive jump. I mean, it's like
it's a geeky thing too. So
well, it's a terribly geeky thing, but it's not. You just didn't make a step up the staircase. You jumped 3 steps up the staircase by getting this guy. How did you find out about him, and how did you approach him?
Actually, he found us.
Oh wow.
I agree. It's a big deal, but it's a niche big deal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People who run conventions, usually the science fiction side, we're looking for authors, we're looking for artists, trying to find people who are available that meet, the theme and the style we want for that year. The pop culture conventions obviously are looking for media personalities and actors and all of this stuff. Nobody's really looking for, some guy that's got Frankenstein equipment. It's not something we tend to Google for.
Right.
So unless there's a special theme, like a couple of years ago when it was the 200th anniversary of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, people were probably looking for him. But generally people aren't looking for that. So he reaches out, and he's gradually building a name on the circuit by coming out and putting these shows on. He reached out to us. We talked to him, thought, oh, this is going to be amazing. We really need to make this happen, and figured out a way to do it.
Yeah, that's really.
I'm very excited for that one.
Absolutely, and you also we have a local guest of honor, which is Emily Davenport, and she's going to be there.
Yeah,
and then go ahead.
And she's a fantastic author. She's been around for a while here in Phoenix, but she took a long break. She wrote a lot in the 90s into the 2000s and then stopped writing really for 15 years, and then came back with a bang with Medusa Uploaded for Tor, which I read as a submission. I review books for the Nameless Zine, so I reviewed that and absolutely adored it. So I went back and found all of her old books, and I've been working through them one a month. And I'm just loving her stuff. She's not like any other author.
Interesting.
Which is something that's very rare to say. Even if you're a really good author, you like this and you like this and you like this. You're just really good at it. Emily is not like anybody. She's her own author, very unique. So really looking forward to honoring her.
Right. And then Gilead is the artist guest of honor. And what can you tell us about him?
And you met Gilead.
We have in passing, but I don't recall.
Yeah, he's a very popular local artist here in Phoenix. We first met him, I think, in Mesa when they used to do really interesting Second Fridays on Main Street. And we were buying his bookmarks, and then we started buying some of the stuff he had up in the shop at Evermore, Nevermore, if people remember that. And, gradually we started seeing him everywhere. And I think it's, now we've got CoKoCon on its own track. It's becoming its own thing. It's definitely time to honor Gilead. He's always good to talk to, always good to watch what he does. He puts on, classes at the event. And he's always on things like the Sketch-Off. He's absolutely fantastic on things like the Sketch-Off.
Oh, cool.
Where we conjure up just bizarre concepts in the audience for the artist to draw. They have 10 minutes or 15 minutes to draw, Conan the Barbarian riding a unicorn or something. and he just always, we're starting to collect a lot of his work. This is the other catch of being involved in local fandom. You come in on the book side and you just bought a few books and you want to get them signed, and suddenly you're buying art every year from the art show. Mm-hmm. And
right.
You start to wonder where all the money goes.
Exactly. So if you go to cons, you're broke.
That's
for the
about
most
right.
part.
That's about right.
And
Yeah.
we end up having to buy Gilead's outright because there's another local con runner called Jason Youngdale. He runs CoKoCon, a gaming convention.
Uh-huh.
He's also a huge fan of Gilead. So we tend to fight it out at the art shows. You know, we're going to bid high on this one. Oh, this one we absolutely have to have. We've got to buy it now.
Right.
Because Jason's going to buy it. If he gets to it before us, we've got to buy that.
Wow.
So yeah, it can get expensive, but there's always so much to buy. I mean, there's so much good stuff, and of course there's plenty that you don't have to buy. You know, I mean,
Oh yeah.
you don't have to spend money, but it's usually something that's worth doing.
You don't
Right.
have
Well,
to. What's wrong with you?
We have a whole walls full of art, and we have a bookshelf full of books that have been signed by people, and it's just it just continues on.
And we've one of the things that we talk about in our show is if you're going to go to a convention, always bring cash because
Yes.
cash is king. You don't want the people who are selling their merchandise to have to pay any kind of fees, credit card fees along those lines. And
Right.
we ran out of cash we repeatedly ran out of cash.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dang. So the other guest of honor that you have is Alexander James Adams. He is the Filk guest of honor. So what?
He is kindly sponsored. In fact, I should have mentioned Gilead is kindly sponsored by Leprechaun Inc., and Alexander James Adams is kindly sponsored by the Phoenix Filk Circle. Yeah, I'm really interested in Alexander James Adams. He's been out. She's been out because he used to be Heather Alexander.
Oh,
And was a guest of honor at a local convention quite some years ago. So now he's coming back as Alexander James Adams, and he plays her music as well as his own.
Oh, interesting.
And the way that's all worded is really interesting.
Fascinating.
Very interesting.
That is incredible. So I'm excited about
And
that.
he's in Seattle, so he's flying down from Seattle. And again, not all the guests are out of state, but Professor Sparks, I think, is in Nevada, and Alexander James Adams in Seattle. So these are people that you're not going to see here outside this event.
Right.
Gilead, I'm sure, will be at the next event. It doesn't mean you shouldn't come and see him at CoKoCon,
Right.
but you will see him again. But these guys, yeah, you've really got to take the opportunity to come out and see them if you want to see them.
Absolutely. And then there's going to be other folks there doing book signings and whatnot.
And then all sorts of panels going on,
panels and this and that and the other. Anything that are highlights for you that, and we'll talk about your thing here in just a moment. Okay. So anything outside of your roadshow.
Yeah, check the website. There's a participant page up, lists everybody who is currently on the schedule to do something, whether it's usually panels, but sometimes other things as well. We've got Mermaid Spectra, who's going to be swimming around in the pool at the hotel. We've got singing, dancing pirates. There's going to be some interesting stuff. I came in really on the literary side, so I'm always interested in looking at the authors. And as an author myself, that dynamic's changed over time.
Right.
But Beth Cato's coming back. She was our local author guest of honor last year. This is the only convention she's doing this year, so really happy to see Beth
It'll
back.
be great to see her
We
again.
have Jennifer Robeson this year.
Nice.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, we adore Beth.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and her cook is wonderful too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have we have Jennifer Robeson coming out this year, which is she's a major name, and I'm really happy to see Brian Augustine coming out.
Yeah,
Yay!
I just saw that. I just looking at. We love Brian.
Yes.
Brian is such an awesome person.
Yes, he's amazing.
He has
Red
a
Gotham.
very different sense of humor, so and it fits right with mine. So yeah, and then there's.
Yeah. And we get a lot of interesting senses of humor at science fiction conventions. Yes.
Absolutely.
I read Gotham by Gaslight long ago. I mean, I was still living in England. I had no idea what steampunk was. So long before I found the steampunk scene and became really immersed in that, I'd read Gotham by Gaslight. And looking back, it's like, oh, well, of course, this is steampunk. I just didn't know what steampunk was at the time. So I finally got to thank him for doing that a couple of years ago, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him at CoKoCon.
Yeah, and there's, oh my gosh, it's a whole page of participants
a lot
here.
of participants.
Lots and lots and lots.
This is going to be exciting.
This is really going to be, just looking at some of the names I recognize. But then you're doing something here at CoKoCon that you did last year as well as you do at other cons. So tell us about that.
Yes, back in 2013, I think now, it's going back, Leprechaun 39, I was invited to put a set of films together. It used to be that the science fiction conventions saw the film festival, as they called it, as a sort of a way to raise some money. So there were submission fees for people to send in films, and then they'd give out awards and things like that. And the catch was that at the size convention we're at, that means that you generally get 2 films submitted and they both suck. So I was invited to bring something new in. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I was involved in the film scene here in Phoenix, and I started to put sets together. So I put a 90-minute set of shorts together, science fiction fantasy that I curated. I went out and found these films from all around the world, but also here in Phoenix as well. So I could bring out some filmmakers and chat, and then we had a feature as well, and it was really popular. So it became a thing, and suddenly, 7 years in, this will be event number 38, and it's become a good part of my life is putting sets together for different conventions, really across the Southwest now. I started in Phoenix, did a lot here in the metro area, then I expanded down to Tucson for Wild Wild West Steampunk Convention. And then from there, I got to do Gaslight Gathering that was in San Diego, another steampunk event, and San Diego Comic Fest. I got invited out, and then I started doing Westercons. So now I've done 4 different states just doing Westercons. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I've screened a heck of a lot of films from all over the place.
Right.
I've got numbers here somewhere. Where am I at? Which are not up to date, of course. So out of the first 35 events, I've screened 251 short films and 5 features from 33 different countries in 8 cities and 3 states.
Wow.
And that's up to bit now. I've done an extra state. I've done a few more events. There's more films from different countries. And I really, really love bringing this stuff to new eyeballs, because there's films that people are never going to see outside, the film festival circuit.
Right.
So if they're not going to film festivals, this is the best place to see some of these films.
Yeah.
I mean, some will make it onto Vimeo and YouTube, but many won't. And you really want to check these things out. There's some incredible films out there that people just don't get a chance to see.
Oh, it's what I live for.
Yeah,
I love film festivals.
We love film festivals, and this is your road show. Now you have a film festival completely on your own. That's what, 2.5 days, or is it Friday, Saturday?
2 days.
2 days, a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I do Friday as well. I just do a sort of a quiet meetup with some of the filmmakers that come into town, just go out for dinner and chat. So they can talk to each other, I can talk to them. But the event proper is 2 days, full Saturday, full Sunday, and they do get to be full days now.
Oh, yeah.
Last year we did 6 features, 7 sets of shorts in 2 days. So it's a busy 2 days, with Q&As in between,
right.
when filmmakers are there. So, it's a busy 2 days, but it's incredibly good stuff. I get very different things from the other festivals in town. I mean, I mentioned the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival earlier. I wrote a book about it. I love that convention. But they get a different sort of film to what I get. There's almost no crossover with material. I think maybe they've screened 1 or 2 films that I screened first. I've screened 1 or 2 films that they screened first.
Yeah,
that's about it.
We've seen
those are all shorts.
A couple of films that you had last year.
Yeah, 1 or 2 that we recognized.
I mean, but that's from different film festivals. Not just one. So, but anyway,
I get a lot of. It's a genre film festival. So I've got horror and science fiction and fantasy and action and steampunk and cult film. I've got the whole gamut. But I get a lot more of the substantial films. So the 10-minute 20-minute shorts, even the 30-minute shorts, and they've got to be really good to program a 30-minute
Oh, yeah.
short, because otherwise I could have shown 3 10-minute shorts. You know,
Exactly.
It's got to be better than those 3.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of those thoughtful, immersive, quality long shorts, films to think about, films to just lie back and be overwhelmed by. I mean, there's some really wild things that play my film festival.
Oh, I certainly remember
And I
some
get
from
to bring
last year.
some of those on the roadshow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, last year was a lot of fun. This year, submissions are up. I've got another couple of weeks of submissions, but the stuff that's coming in is incredible.
So we would love to talk to you
Yes.
more, but we are just
We're up against
we're
the line.
way out of time here. So tell us when CoKoCon is, so that people can know and how
CoKoCon
they can
is Labor
find
Day
it.
weekend.
Okay.
Labor Day weekend, CoKoCon.com. CoKoCon.org. Let me get this right. I'm worrying about spelling it for you, and I get the domain wrong.
I know, I did that too.
CoKoCon.org, because we're non-profit, so .org. And we are CoKoCon 2019, I believe, on Facebook now. So lots and lots of information there. All the roadshow and the film festival and all of that stuff, go to apocalypselaterempire.com. You can get everything, my reviews, all of it. And I should mention azfandom.org as well, which I run, and that is amazingly enough at azfandom.org.
And the Twitter for CoKoCon is CoKoCon_1. Is that correct?
No underscore. CoKoCon1.
CoKoCon1. Okay, right. Yep. Because there's
CoKoCon number 1.
No, yeah. So this has been really great. Thank you so much.
I know.
Hal,
I wish we had more time.
Yeah. So thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
Hey, it's comics legend Brian Augustine, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks, and probably having a good time.
It's always good to talk to Hal.
Mm-hmm. And that was a great conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really jazzed now about this year's CoKoCon.
I am too. I'm really looking forward to it. Last year we didn't know what to expect, and I don't think anybody knew what to expect.
No, we didn't.
Because it was the
the first
year, but I think we learned a few things, and I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be like a little staycation for us, so we'll be there. Here's a few selected birthdays for August 19th through August the 25th, 2019. August the 19th, Coco Chanel. We have Gene Roddenberry.
The great bird of the galaxy.
Yes. Philo Farnsworth. Philo Farnsworth basically invented the electronic television.
Ah.
And some of his inventions were instrumental in developing the electron microscope, among other things. So he actually, it was instrumental in a lot of things in what we see today. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of interesting birthdays this week that are surrounding stuff that we talk about a lot, like Gene and also Orville Wright on August the 19th.
Who I am very, 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 very distantly related to, so I'm proud of that.
Very, 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 very.
Very, 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 very.
And also on August 19th, Jonathan Frakes.
Number 1. Frakes?
Frakes. There we go. John Deacon.
Formerly bass player of Queen.
Yes. Ginger Baker.
Formerly drummer for the band Cream.
Queen and Cream.
Right. I'm not.
No, we're not going to go there.
Nope. I'm stopping.
Also, Facebook friend Dragon Sotalo. August the 20th, H.P. Lovecraft.
And funny, we had a great little conversation this morning.
We were just talking about Lovecraft earlier today.
There's this really unusual comic book, that's like Lovecraft for children.
Yeah, it was really strange.
Really disturbing.
Robert Plant.
Former lead singer of Led Zeppelin.
Isaac Hayes. Former lead singer of Isaac Hayes.
Chef. But I'm actually thinking of he did the original recording for the song Shaft.
Yes, Isaac Hayes. And John Noble.
John Noble?
Yes, that
John Noble.
Exactly. If you don't understand that reference, you have to listen to a Technorama podcast
That we're on.
Also, interesting that we should talk about John Noble,
Yes.
And Alan Lee.
Amazing Tolkien artist.
Yes. And Christian Basil, a Facebook friend. Basil, yes. August 21st, Sergey Brin, who is the co-founder of Google. And Steve Case, the founder of AOL.
America Online. When it was
everybody's
good
friends, America
at that
Online.
time.
Exactly. And Count Basie. It's interesting. We
just saw Count Basie in Blazing Saddles the other day.
Yes. And also on August 21st, Keith Dupuy, also known as Katie Edwards.
Author extraordinaire.
Yes, you should check out his The Last Son. Go look it up.
He's got The Hanged Man already done. It's going through edit right now, and he hopes... He's planning on having The Sunken Mall, which is just a little one-off that he's writing that kind of bridges the two. It's a lighthearted tale.
Yeah.
He hopes to have that done sometime this week.
Yay, that would be fun. Something to do on my work trip. Also on August 21st, Ari Marino, a friend of ours that lives in L.A. August 22nd, Claude Debussy.
I thought you were going to say that all wrong.
Claudie Debussy?
Yes.
Yes. I thought about it.
Well, the thing is, you say it that way so many times now that I swear one of these days I am going to accidentally call him with the completely incorrect pronunciation.
Yep.
And then I will thoroughly have egg on my face and I will promptly blame you.
Yes. Also on August the 22nd, Ray Bradbury.
Hey, crazy Uncle Ray.
Yeah. And Dorothy Parker, also known as the Queen of Snark. She has all of these quotes, It's crazy stuff. And Charles Francis Jenkins, who invented the Phantascope. And he started experimenting with early motion pictures in 1891. And in 1894, his Phantascope projected the first film image with artificial light.
Makes me want to watch the movie Hugo now.
Yeah, it does. I know. Although that was not a Phantascope, but that was he was a precursor to that.
That's what came about because of the Phantascope. And
exactly.
And then you had Georges Méliès, who just totally revolutionized the movie industry because of that. So we have, Monsieur Jenkins to thank for that.
Yes. And also on August the 22nd, my cousin, Robin Bluejacket. August the 23rd, River Phoenix.
Who left us way too soon.
Barbara Eden.
Jeannie.
And Keith Moon.
The original drummer for The Who.
Yes. And Trixie Mattel.
She invented the Mattel toy line.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. Trixie Mattel is a drag queen, also known as Brian Furcus. His father, or his stepfather, started calling him Trixie at a very young age because he was so effeminate. And he did his first drag show and took on the name Trixie at the age of 18 and took on the name Mattel in honor of Barbie because Mattel created Barbie.
Aha.
And so one of his idols, and thus his drag name was... And my mouse stopped working.
Oh, dear God.
Good Lord. And also on the 23rd... Oh, for heaven's sake. Come on. There we go. Gene Kelly... And our favorite
travel agent, Teresa Corey.
Teresa Corey.
The
Happy
fairy
birthday,
godmother.
Teresa. Fairy godmother travel. Exactly. August 24th, Stephen Fry, Rupert Grint.
Ronald Weasley.
Yes, and Marlee Matlin.
I adore her, especially after we got to see her at Disney World.
Absolutely. And also Ava DuVernay, who was... she was the director for... oh, shoot. What was that film?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Out of my brain. Everybody's screaming at their phone or whatever they're listening to the podcast on the name of the film. Yes, I know. Forgive me, I'm old. Also, August 24th.
Oh, wait a minute. Ava DuVernay. She did Wrinkle in Time, didn't she?
There we are. The Wrinkles of Time. Yes.
I had to think about it. I said, wait a minute. I know.
Yes.
Wait, that name is familiar. Oh, I remember. It's the movie I didn't like.
Yeah, Howard Zinn, who is a famed historian. His work, you really should check out some of his work. It's great. He analyzes history. He's not only a historian, but analyzes the history itself and draws conclusions to current day events, etc. Also on August 24th, Mason Williams.
Oh my goodness! And now
Classical Gas.
Oh geez, yes. Okay, okay.
Yes, that Mason Williams. That was what, 1968 or
something like that.
72.
Yeah, that was
right
like
in that era.
That just so took the world by storm.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of it, but whatever.
Yeah. Also on August 24th, Michelle Cannon, Tommy
Happy birthday.
Cannon's wife.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Michelle. And Skip Jones. August 25th, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Don't let Sean Connery teach your dog to sit.
I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah, that was a meme that was going around on Facebook.
Wow, that's good.
It's great because it perfectly ties in here. Also on August 25th, Tim Burton, Elvis Costello, Leonard Bernstein, Tom Skerritt, Michael Rennie.
Ooh, need to watch Day of the Earth.
Yeah, we do. Regis Philbin. And Monty Hall. Let's make a deal. Oh, my God. I remember sitting there watching Let's Make a Deal every single day during the summer.
Yeah, we did too.
Oh, my gosh.
But you know why? Because there was nothing else on. We only had 3 networks.
Exactly. Or you'd sit there and watch Concentration.
That too. Yeah. Well, I watched all of those because, again, there were only 3 networks.
Exactly. Also on August 25th, good friend Celia Reeder from Arizona Opera, Christopher McCombs of the Benza, Rebecca Louisa Smith, who is a film festival doctor, and Susan Morton. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad?
Not me, that's for sure.
How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
Okay, this is the amusing feedback section because except for, I think, 2 responses, all of these came off of, I think 3 of them were not Instagram.
Okay.
Everybody else, I mean, I think, just a quick count, but everybody else, this was such a huge Instagram feedback week.
Yay.
Very unusual. So, starting off, regarding the movie 1776, under Old Classics Newly Reviewed, got a comment on Instagram from K Muley 1693, who simply writes, Sit down, John. Very good. And then I got another comment, also Instagram, from thank you. Jasinin, oh my goodness.
That one.
I can't pronounce this one. Cecily. I'm sorry if I really butchered that.
Yes, you did.
I did. I know I did. Yes. And she gives 2 thumbs up. Beautiful thing about Instagram, a lot of responses can be very graphical.
Yeah.
And I got a comment from my good friend Corey Nelson, also on Instagram. She simply writes, love this movie. Must have watched it 10 times over the many years. And I got a comment from Jana Halford. Now, she's one of the few exceptions. She left this on Facebook. She says, excellent review. I totally agree about the music and the costumes. I like the costumes, but you are so right. People would have shown the summer heat in real life.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, it's such a polished-looking movie.
Yes.
And then this is regarding this is a press release we ran for the book series Boys Town by Jake Biondi. And we got a comment from Jake on Instagram. He simply writes, thank you. And as a quick follow-up, this is Ben's gay book breakdown. Boy Town
You actually
Season
read
1.
it, yes.
I read the first book. Boys Town Season 1 is a saucy gay soap opera that redefines guilty pleasures. And got a comment from Jake Biondi, the author. He says, thank you. Hope you'll move on to Season 2. I did. And then this is regarding Horrible Imaginings Film Festival celebrates 10 years. And people remember that I think it was last episode we spoke to Miguel Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, we got a comment from Horrible Imaginings themselves. And as with all graphical ones, this is, wow, how can I describe this? Rock and roll looking eyes, rock and roll looking eyes. That's the best I can describe it. It's very, very cute.
Yeah.
And then, mentioned a little bit Keith Edwards, his birthday. We talked about the Sunken Mall that he's writing, and he's releasing that online. He says, this is a press release. Katie Edwards releases Chapter 1 of a tarot sequence novelette online. Got a comment from Hamish Downey saying, looking forward to it. And in response to that, I say, Hamish, have you read it? I'd like to know what you think.
Yeah.
And then regarding, this is my review, Spider-Man Far From Home is a heroically fun movie. Got a comment on one of the Facebook boards. This is Charlie Mento. He writes, good but too lighthearted? What happened to the type of darkness of the Tobey Maguire movies? And I have a response that I simply think that Marvel doesn't want to go that dark. Not with the Spider-Man. I mean, consider that now we're really picturing with a very young actor that Peter Parker is a teenager. He's in high school.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of want to steer a little bit from that level of darkness, which I'm totally fine with. And then regarding TG Geeks episode 229, this is our interview with Jan D. Gordon, and we got a comment from on Facebook, Humanity of Steel. So I guess her book has
a personality,
has a personality of its own on Facebook, yes.
Uh-huh.
And although it's clearly got to be Jan D. Gordon, because she writes, I so enjoyed this. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And
we
then,
really enjoyed talking to you and meeting you at the book signing.
It was wonderful. And now for the embarrassing one.
Oh, Lord God.
This is regarding TG Geeks episode numero uno.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, dear Lord. We got a comment from Hamish Downey. He says, you got me curious with the 5-year anniversary episode where I guess we did talk about episode 1 and begged people never to listen to it. That was the worst mistake we should have ever done. We should never have said, oh, don't listen to it, because you know they will. Because his response is, it's a fun episode and interesting to see where the catchphrases come from.
Oh, Lord.
I will say this. It is neither fun nor funny. Thank you very much. And that is our feedback for this week.
But it was a first, and it was a start, and we did it. So there it is.
Yes, it is done.
Yeah.
Elver done.
Exactly.
Put a fork in it. It's dead.
If you want to comment on anything that we publish, whether it's one of our episodes or one of our articles that we've written, you can do that on our Facebook page. You can do that at tggeeks.com. You can do it on Twitter. You can also comment on Instagram, as many people have today. And you can also call our listener feedback line if you want to leave us a voicemail, and we'll play that on air. We would love for you to be a star, too. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. But always, please play nice. Boy, I didn't prepare a clip, but I believe we are running Kai Hazelwood
I think we are.
Next week.
I believe we are, yes.
So that stay tuned for that. That's a very interesting interview. If you are in transition or have already transitioned and are in crisis, or you know of someone in crisis, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by specially trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to the translifeline.org for more information about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Okay, I know we sort of discussed this last time, but we're going to talk about it a little bit again, because by the time this episode airs, this series will have ended. It will have shown, it'll broadcast the final episode, and that's Elementary.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we will get to see it. We may have to take some time at the hotel while we're on vacation and watch it, just so that we can stay up with the crowd.
Well, I'm planning to write a review for that.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to get one out, in the coming weeks since this episode airs.
Yeah.
And I know we talked a little bit about this, but so let's talk about just the overall theme of this episode. I mean, this was
this
season. It occurs to me this is a statement on Big Brother. I think the whole 1984 Brave New World Big Brother is watching kind of thing.
And also bringing in current, the way everybody is watching us and how it doesn't matter what you put into Google, it shows up on Facebook the next time you're on.
That's true.
And,
I mean, the whole idea that, now that we're plugged in via social media, that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. People can monitor your very life. I think it's a rather compelling concept. I like the fact that they're not really they're addressing a more extreme aspect of it.
Right.
I really like that, but I think it's an interesting storyline. But what do you think of the cast? Especially, what do you think of Mr. Odin?
He's creepy. Yes, he's a sociopath and megalomaniac and just all of that combined. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that hopefully we're going to have a good wind up to the whole series, and it looks like it so far. We'll see.
I will say this last episode took a really shocking turn.
Yes, it did.
I was really surprised by it, and now we've only got one episode left to see where this goes, and wow, I have no idea where it's going to end up. So It should be interesting. We want to talk a little bit,
just briefly.
Something happened in L.A. that I think is kind of cool for the people who live in downtown L.A. or live near it.
Yeah, actually, and that happened just
days ago
as of this recording,
right?
A week ago as of
when this episode airs.
Yeah, the Alamo Drafthouse is opened in Los Angeles on August the 8th, and they are a really great alternative to the dine-in theaters.
In a weird way, I just
strange way. Yeah.
I just read a Variety article or Deadline, and actually refers to them as an independent chain because they're not AMC.
Nope.
They're not Harkins. They're not part of any of the big major groups. This is so it's its own.
Started in San
entity.
Antonio. Yeah.
I mean, it has a CEO, and they've got theaters popping up all over the place. We've got two in Maricopa County that I know of.
Yep.
One in Tempe and one in Chandler. But now LA's got one. My friend John Eisen got to go see something over there. I don't know if he caught a soft opening or if he was there for a grand opening.
Yep.
But I love Alamo Drafthouse.
They're nice theaters. They do some interesting things. They are serious about no texting, no social media. I mean,
Once the lights go down.
Once the lights go down, turn your phones off and stop talking.
Or they will escort you out.
They will ask you to leave.
Yes, they will.
And, they don't care.
And they will actually run film print.
Yep, they have. They do.
They have digital
35
4K.
millimeter. And,
like they just ran a 35 millimeter print, I believe, of Quentin's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep,
which I would have loved to have gone to.
I know
that would have been fun. But if you have a chance to check out an Alamo Drafthouse, do it. You'd love it.
Yep.
It's fun.
As everybody knows, we're huge supporters of independent creators, and you could say that Alamo Drafthouse is sort of an independent creator. They are an independent film chain, a smallish film chain. And whether it's filmmakers or comic book artists or writers, please buy their stuff, talk to people about their stuff, and if you're at a con, have cash for them. Please consider supporting independent creators. And we talked about CoKoCon. That's a second year, Labor Day weekend, Metro Center. Check it out, CoKoCon.org. We're going to be there having a great time. Joshua Tree Feeding Program. They are provide nourishment for low-income HIV-positive residents of Maricopa County. They provide a pantry where people can go in just like a grocery store. Please support Joshua Tree Feeding Program. Go to jtfp.org. The Grand Canyon Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are hosting their third annual Red Dress Ball on November 16th at the Parsons Center for Health and Wellness. The proceeds go to Joshua Tree and to AIDS Walk Arizona, sponsored by Aunt Rita's Foundation. We're going to have, actually, by the time this airs, I think we've got the press release that we'll talk about just momentarily.
Okay, a bit of a weekly future recap.
This is what we think is going to run. Most of it, anyway.
Yes.
A lot of it we know, but...
Some of it is a guess.
Yes.
On Sunday, August 11th, Dr. Zombie, whatever issue number that is, I don't recall. On Monday, the 12th, we had episode 234 of TG Geeks. On Tuesday, the 13th, a review of the CBS series Blood and Treasure. On Wednesday, the 14th, a restaurant review?
Maybe.
On August 15th, Thursday, a review of the movie Good Boys from Andrea Richoff. On Friday, a new edition of News Sushi, morsels of news from Japan and beyond from Hamish Downey.
75, I think.
It might be. And then on Saturday, the 17th, we will have a press release for the Red Dress Ball that we were just talking about.
You can find all these things at tggeeks.com, as well as entries on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. Got to do this. There we go.
Okay, I got a couple of things I want to run. First off, there is the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. That is run by the human Arkle, and they republish our content from time to time, or he republishes our content from time to time. You can find the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News by going to Twitter and searching for Arkle, at ARKLE, and he also is on YouTube with the Shameless Cash Grab Season 3, I believe he still is, or maybe he's just about to wrap up. You can find him by going to YouTube and searching Arkle Studios. That is all one word. Also, must give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. We are most grateful for them saying share away when asked if we could share our content there, and we do. Their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours, and then to The Gay Geek for much of the same. Special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves, for giving us his blessings. And that URL is facebook.com/group/thegaygeek.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And lastly, we are now, as always, on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station celebrating 10 years on the air. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. To death. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page of things that we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind always.
Cheers.